That's my claim. As you can read, I assume, unlike your prophet. Go ahead.
Oh, Muhammad out here catching strays now. First we had Ash Mays attack all religions and insult all religions. And now we've got this guy talking trash about Muhammad not being able to read.
I hope he doesn't now start. I hope she doesn't now start crying about you insulted my
on your Western ideology. I find this one to be a problem. That's my claim. As you can read, I assume, unlike your prophet. Go ahead.
Okay, beautiful. So I'm
okay,
beautiful.
Okay, beautiful.
Korra thinks insulting Muhammad is beautiful.
asking you, why is Islam worse for society?
That's not what you asked.
Can you answer that question?
That's not what you asked. That's not at all what you asked.
I'm asking you that right now. I didn't say I asked you. Past tense. That's what happens when you're illiterate.
Is it a problem to be illiterate?
That's interesting. Is that
is that a problem to be illiterate?
No, it's not a problem.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Because your prophet was illiterate.
I'm just making sure. I'm just making sure.
You said that's what happens when you're illiterate, which is the biggest irony. Which is the biggest irony from a Muslim to call something illiterate. Okay.
Bring up Korra the Tamey. Don't run.
What?
Bring up Korra the Tamey. Don't run. Don't act like you didn't hear me.
I have no idea who you're talking about or what.
I would for that I wouldn't even bring it up when you're running.
Okay, the prompt is 2 big problems for the world: leftism and Islam.
I'm against things that are anti-Western ideology, and I find Islam to be, for the most part, anti-Western ideology.
Okay, and what's the argument for Western ideologies being superior in any way, shape, and/or form?
It's my opinion. It's not. I'm not asking you to think that way. I'm saying I'm against things, and I want things to be more Western. I'm not saying that you have to think that way.
Yeah, well, I'm asking you, what's the proof for that objectively being better? Unless you're advocating for something that is objectively worse.
I didn't say anything about objectiveness. I'm saying that I prefer it. That's what I said. You're not listening.
Yeah, well, I didn't object to that. What I'm saying is, are you advocating for something that is better or worse objectively?
I'm saying that I prefer it. I'm not going to change my answer just because you continue to ask. It doesn't matter what you ask. My answer is this is what I...
This is the funny thing. I live in the West. I love the West. I love Western values. I want to continue living in Western values. Western values are fantastic. They're good. Islam is against Western values. Therefore, Islam is a problem. Okay, but how can you prove that Western values are objectively better? Except, who cares? Who cares, man?
What's
if
weird,
Islam is against our values, then it is bad. That's it. Get rid of it. I don't want it. I don't want something to assert that it is better than my values and then try to change them. If you think it's good, go and live in Muslim countries.
And what's crazy is, despite their protests, Muslims agree. Korra agrees. Why? How do we? Yeah. Because she can move to Afghanistan right now if she wanted to. She's not. She doesn't want to. She doesn't want to go anywhere near a place governed by Islam.
No, but it's because they're being bombed by the West. That's why they're so bad.
So she actually agrees with Nick. Nick's just way more self-aware and honest with himself.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't interrupt me. You're not going to interrupt me. Okay, relax, calm down.
That's how you regulate.
I find it to be. That's what I prefer in society. I do not prefer Islamism. I do not prefer what's taught in Islam. I do not prefer that ideology coming here into the West or America.
Is what you prefer better or worse for society?
What?
It's a straightforward question. Is what you prefer better or worse for society?
What kind of question is that?
I'm asking you.
That's an insane question. It's not a good faith question.
Ideology.
I think you're interrupting because you're scared to go forward with the conversation. So let's try to calm down, okay? Don't just try to get kicked because you're scared to have the conversation. I find Islam to be... You keep interrupting though. That's not the definition of somebody who's calm.
My question answered.
Doesn't matter what you need. I don't give a what you need, right? I'm telling you. Okay, you're still okay. Listen, people, I don't care what you think. I'm trying to tell you. You have to relax. You're trying to get kicked because you're scared to go forward with the conversation. This is what every Muslim does when they don't have answers for something. I'm telling you what I determine to be worse. Muslims, like every single time I argue with a Muslim, they try to deflect, right? I know what you're going to do. I'm going to say, obviously, this is why it's a bad faith question, that of course I find it to be better than Islam. Why would anyone in the world advocate for something against something else, but they find that second thing to be better? Why would I do that? Of course you know the answer to that. It's a bad faith question. Is that fair? That no one in the world, stop. No, but I'm asking, is that fair? Is there anyone in the world who would say, I advocate for A over B, but I find B to be better? That's stupid, okay? So instead of answering a bad faith, ridiculous question, which I know where you're going with.
That was actually quite an interestingly impressive explanation of why that is a stupid question.
Dude's smart, man.
I'm surprised.
You're surprised he's smart?
Yeah.
That this is what you're going to do. I will say yes to that. And then you'll say, well, what about this, and that? No, I do not find Western ideology or any ideology to be perfect. So of course you can point out things that are bad about fill in the blank, regardless of what ideology you're talking about.
I know, I'm joking, but he looks like he could be Turkish, and that's why I thought he's stupid.
That is true. He could pass for Turkish.
Yeah,
talking about. So instead, the reason I wrote the top prompt, which is what you came up here to talk about, right? The top prompt isn't, I find everything else to be more perfect or even perfect at all. I'm saying I find this to be worse. So you either have an argument on why Islam is not worse, or you're an adult, you're more than welcome to go along your way. But that is my prompt.
All right, perfect. But you didn't answer my question. My question is not, is Western values better than Islam?
You can ask it again. You're going to ask it again. You can ask it again, and I'm going to answer. I'm going to answer the exact same way. I'm going to answer the exact same way. Feel free to ask the question again. I promise you, everything's going to be answered. Stop. You can ask the question one more. Okay, listen, just calm down. You can ask the question again, and I promise you I'm going to answer it the exact same way. I know the Muslim tricks. I understand what you're trying to do. I find this one to be a problem. That's my claim. As you can read, I assume, unlike your prophet. Go ahead.
Oh, Muhammad out here catching strays now. First we had Ash Mays attack all religions and insult all religions. And now we've got this guy talking trash about Muhammad not being able to read.
I hope he doesn't now start. I hope she doesn't now start crying about you insulted my
on your Western ideology. I find this one to be a problem. That's my claim. As you can read, I assume, unlike your prophet. Go ahead.
Okay, beautiful. So I'm
okay, beautiful. Okay, beautiful.
Korra thinks insulting Muhammad is beautiful.
asking you, why is Islam worse for society?
That's not what you asked.
Can you answer that question?
That's not what you asked. That's not at all what you asked.
I'm asking you that right now. I didn't say I asked you. Past tense. That's what happens when you're illiterate.
Is it a problem to be illiterate?
That's interesting. Is that
is that a problem to be illiterate?
No, it's not a problem.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Because your prophet was illiterate.
I'm just making sure.
You said that's what happens when you're illiterate, which is the biggest irony, from a Muslim to call something illiterate. Okay, so you weren't asking. I will. So just want to make something very clear. You were not asking that at all. You never asked that. You are now.
Yeah, she did say I'm going to ask my question again, but then she asked a completely different question.
I think it's subversion of women, Jews, Christians, even polytheists, people that are kafir. I find that to be problematic.
Wait, so the concept of people not being believers is problematic?
Yeah, that's what he said, Korra. It's exactly what he said.
Okay, let's try this again.
Christians, even polytheists, people that are kafir, I find that to be problematic.
Wait, so the concept of people not being believers is problematic?
I think the actions you take against non-believers or women or others is problematic, not something that you just disagree. Sure. Ibn Abbas, right, and Ibn Kathir both agree in their tafsir. Ibn Abbas, one of the companions of the Prophet, when it talks about killing the polytheists. A lot of Muslims will say, oh, no, that was just at a specific time. But Ibn Abbas and Ibn Kathir specifically say in the tafsir that actually it wasn't just for a specific time, and there was a 4-month period put onto the polytheists, specifically to remove all treaties and peace with them. And then if they broke something within that 4 months, then you can attack them before the 4 months. But even those that did not break any treaty, you still take the same actions against them at the end of 4 months, just because they were
that's the commentary on Surah 9, verse 5.
Yeah, that's the interpretation of chapter 9, verse 5.
That's the ayah of the sword, guys.
I would always use a better example, which is chapter 9, verse 29. There is no ambiguity about it.
Yeah, we prefer 9:29. I mean, keep in mind, he's right about Surah 9, verse 5. But if you read Surah 9, verse 5, without the surrounding verses, it'll get pointed out that you're taking it out of context, because you do have some things they can point to and go, oh, but obviously it can't mean that, because look at what happens right after it. That's where like a commentary, like Ibn Kathir's commentary, would come in handy, because he actually breaks things down.
When it comes to chapter 9, verse 29, which is what I would always use, and what David also uses, because David is always copying me, it's the 9 verse 29, we see the following: fight those who do not believe in Allah or in the last day, and who do not consider unlawful but Allah and his messenger have made unlawful, and who do not adopt the religion of truth, that is Islam, from those who were given the scripture, that is the Jews and the Christians. Fight until they give the jizya willingly while they are humiliated. This is a blanket command to fight the Jews and the Christians and others who do not accept Islam.
Here's a simple question. Do you have a problem with self-defense?
Self-defense?
What does that have to do with what I said? What did I say to you?
She thinks 9:5 is about self-defense. This is bad, man. Pull up that. You can pull up the commentary, man.
Is it in the unabridged? Is it in the abridged version?
I don't know. Pull up a site, man. Alim.org or something like that. Go to alim.org.
Abbas.
What?
Ibn Abbas.
Oh, go to Ibn Kathir, man. I'll check out Ibn Abbas.
No, it is the Abbas within the tafsir of Ibn Kathir. That's what he's arguing. So here, this is Ibn Kathir commenting on chapter 9, verse 5. This is the ayah of the sword. He said he referred specifically to Ibn Abbas here within the tafsir. However, let's read here. So when the sacred months have passed, meaning upon the end of the 4 months during which we prohibited you from fighting the idolaters, and which is the grace period we gave them, then fight and kill the idolaters wherever you may find them. Allah's statement next means then fight the mushrikeen, the polytheists, wherever you find them, means on the earth in general, except for the sacred area. For Allah said, fight now with them at al-Masjid al-Haram unless they fight you there, and fight not with them. But if they attack you, then fight them. Allah said here, and execute and capture them, executing some and keeping some as prisoners, and besiege them in line, wait for them in each and every ambush. Do not wait until you find them, rather seek and besiege them in their areas and forts. Gather intelligence about them in the various roads and fairways, so that what is made wide looks ever smaller to them. This way they will have no choice but to die or embrace Islam.
To what? Die or embrace Islam. You either die or you embrace Islam. And then it continues with the verse right there, which is where it says it.
But if they repent and perform the salah and give the zakah, then leave their way free. Verily Allah is oft forgiving.
It's slay them wherever they find them. And then, but if they repent and perform the salah, in other words, if they convert to Islam, then leave their way free. Okay, guys, that's called forced conversion.
Abu Bakr as-Siddiq used this and other honorable ayat as proof for fighting those who refrain from paying the zakah. This is actually part of the first war after Muhammad's death, which is or wars or battles, which is the wars of apostasy. As after Muhammad died, lots of Muslims, lots of people who were loyal to Muhammad throughout the Arabian Peninsula started leaving and going their own way, or refusing to pay zakah, to pay the obligatory money that they ought to pay to the head of the state. So Abu Bakr, the caliph, declared war on all of them, not just because they were non-Muslims, not just because they didn't abide by Islam, it is because they refused to do something that is part of Islam. So just because they refused to give the zakah, which the Quran commands here, he declared war on them. So Ibn Kathir in his interpretation here says that if they refuse to just do this, you may declare war on them. These ayah allowed fighting people unless and until they embrace Islam and implement its rulings and obligations. Is this defensive?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, keep in mind, this is after Muhammad conquered them. Yeah. Muhammad won. He won. And then it's, okay, now we're giving you a little window. We're giving you time to decide whether you want to convert or just run and get the heck out of here. But at the end of these 4 months, time's up. You convert or die.
So this is the verse in question here. Korra wants to argue that this is self-defense. The foremost interpreters of the Quran clearly say, as we can also clearly see when we read the Quran itself, they say this verse allowed fighting people unless and until they embrace Islam and implement its rulings and obligations. If they do not convert to Islam and implement all its rulings and obligations, they are to be fought and slaughtered, according to the Quran itself. Allah mentioned the most important aspects of Islam here, including what is less important. Surely the highest elements of Islam after the two testimonials are the prayer, which is the right of Allah, the exalted and ever high, is very, very high, and the zakah, which benefits the poor and needy. These are the most honorable acts that creatures perform, and so on and so forth. If you do not do these things, Muslims have the right to fight you, to kill you. I have been commanded, and then he quotes Muhammad here. Muhammad said, I have been commanded to fight the people until they testify that there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah, and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Establish the prayer and pay the zakah. So according to this very interpretation, once again, Muhammad himself already said and confirmed, in line with this Quran verse, that he has been sent, or he has been commanded by Allah himself, to fight all people until they become Muslims, until they convert to Islam. So all disbelievers are to be fought and turned into Muslims. This honorable verse was called the verse of the sword, and so on and so forth, about which Ad-Dahhak bin Muzahim said it abrogated every agreement of peace between the Prophet and any idolater, every treaty and every term. So this verse here abrogated every agreement of peace between the Prophet and the idolaters and disbelievers. Al-Awfi said that Ibn Abbas commented, no idolater had any more treaty or promise of safety ever since Surah Bara was revealed. This chapter here was revealed. This is what Nick Matau is talking about here. The 4 months, in addition to all peace treaties conducted before Bara was revealed and announced, had ended by the 10th of the month of Rabi al-Akhir. So according to this interpretation of the Quran, which is highly scholarly and highly reliable in Islam, in Islamic scholarship, this Quran verse, chapter 9, verse 5, which says, slay the unbelievers wherever you find them after the 4 months. This Quran verse, according to the Islamic interpreters and scholars, authorizes Muslims to fight disbelievers everywhere until they become Muslims and fulfill the commandments that Allah gave to the Muslims. So all disbelievers ought to be fought according to the Quran itself, according to the Islamic scholars, according to Muhammad. And Korra should know this, unless she's an ignorant idiot.
Just read the next verse so people will know what I was talking about when I said, see this? And if any one of the polytheists seeks your protection, then grant him protection so that he may hear the words of Allah. Then deliver him to his place of safety. That is because there are people who do not know. This is what, if you bring up Surah 9, verse 5, Zakir Naik trained people to go to this verse and say, look, what are you talking about? You're escorting them. You're saying, if a polytheist says, hey, I want protection, and you grant him protection, and then you escort him to a place of safety. So obviously this can't be saying just slay everyone, slay all the unbelievers and so on. So anyway, Zakir Naik would pull that. But you read the commentaries and they say this is talking about messengers, right? Like in other words, people who are coming to you to convey some message or something like that, or people who are inquiring about Islam and they want to know more about Islam. And so because it specifically says there that he may hear the words of Allah. So you let the person hear the words of Allah, and notice what it says. Then you deliver him to his place of safety. You escort him to a place of safety. That's the interesting part. Why would you be escorting this person to a place of safety? Why would he need an escort to take him to a place of safety? Because the verse before it says kill these guys. And so you're allowing for people who want to hear about Islam, you're allowing them the opportunity to do so, because if they found out, hey, as soon as you step on this land, they're going to chop your head off. So in other words, you escort the person to a place of safety to protect him from the Muslims who've been told to kill the polytheists.
This is the proof. In any case, it's very clear what this is saying. Kill and fight the disbelievers.
What did I say to you? No, because this is the deflection. No, hold on. Stop.
It's not a deflection. I need an answer to my question.
Stop.
I need an answer to my question, man.
You cannot change the subject, okay?
And you cannot deflect from the topic. The topic is 9-5.
If you interrupt me one more time, okay, I'm going to kick you. I don't care if you want. If you want to have this conversation, you have to stop interrupting, okay?
And if you want to have this conversation, you have to answer questions.
Okay, I'm going to. You can come.
You have to do this. You have to do this. She's so freaking annoying.
He kicked me after
perfect. Okay, perfect.
After he didn't do what I said. He didn't even do what I told him to do. He didn't even do what I commanded him to do. Then he kicked me. Anyway.
Back up, but I'm going to ask you a very simple question, all right? You either answer the question or you move on, okay? You don't have to be up here. But what you're not going to do is try to interrupt the entire time and then somehow think you're doing well. You're doing awful so far. You either believe that this verse is talking about self-defense, in which case you are not deflecting, and in which case you should tell me why you think instead of just consistently asking me, or you don't think that, which in case you are deflecting. What you're doing is you're doing a version of whataboutism, and you are also deflecting. So if you want to come back up, I will give you one more shot, okay? But if you want to have an actual debate, you have to have an actual debate, okay? You cannot just start consistently asking, making no claim, interrupting, and doing an obviously fake laugh. Nobody believes that's a real laugh, okay? So do you believe this verse is talking about self-defense?
Yes, 9-5 is talking about self-defense due to 9-13.
Great. So do you believe in the 4-month time period that it is talking about?
Do you want to go to 9-13? The evidence that I cited was 9-13.
In a little bit. Do you believe that...
Wait, go to 9-13.
I'm going to try one more time. I told you I'm going to give you one more shot. We don't need to do this. There's many people coming up here, okay? Do you believe in the 4-month period that I mentioned earlier when you were, I hope, listening?
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely.
Okay, so what happens to the end of that 4-month period if nobody breaks anything?
Why are you not engaging with the substance I just brought you?
I understand.
9-13 proves that it's self-defense.
Okay, listen.
Do you disagree?
David,
absolute nonsense.
Proves that it's self-defense. 9:13 says the following: would you not fight against a people who broke their oaths and determined to expel the messenger, and they had begun the attack upon you the first time? Do you fear them? But Allah has more right that you should fear him if you are truly believers.
Since Korra likes context so much, how about the context of the verse right before this?
The context of the verse right before this is the following: and if they break their oaths after their treaty and defame your religion and combat the leaders of disbelief, for indeed there are no oaths to them.
This is talking about criticizing and insulting the religion. They had taken an oath not to insult Islam anymore, and so you got to fight them now if they're breaking that oath.
But to be fair, insulting Islam is kind of Islamophobic, and Muslims have the right to defend themselves by killing you. Can you argue against that? You can't. See, you see,
it's too powerful.
It's too powerful.
I already brought this up before you did. This is you trying to deflect away.
Do you disagree that it's self-defense?
It doesn't matter what.
There's also another issue here, which is So, and they had begun the attack upon you the first time. Why would you not fight against the people who broke their oaths and determined to expel the messenger? Okay, in this case, it may be talking about people who broke their oaths to not hate you. Even if that was a valid context here, it would still not mean that the order to fight the disbelievers wherever you find them is only applicable to these guys. We already read in the tafsir of Ibn Kathir, this is a general, worldwide, global command to fight the disbelievers wherever you find them. We already read that this is global. Any commentary that it makes about these specific guys is entirely irrelevant to what the motive of that order is.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I agree or disagree because I know the Muslim tricks. I can answer your questions. I have no problem doing it after you answer my stuff that I brought up first. So what you're doing is you're scared to answer this. So you're asking a question. Okay. Last chance. Seriously, this is the last chance. If you interrupt me again, this is the last chance because I'm going to assume it's you running away. Okay? So I brought up this 4 months way before you brought up anything. Did you ask a question that I am capable of answering? Of course I did. I can also deflect away from your points to ask a question and then be like, are you scared to answer? Are you scared to answer? Why aren't you answering? This is a Muslim trick. I already brought this up. If you want to run away from it, then just be a metaphorical man and just say you want to run away from it. Or you can stop deflecting and answer what I already brought up before you try to deflect.
To be fair, Korra could be a man. We don't know. Could be a very effeminate, a very small man. We do not know this. Do you have any proof that she's actually a woman?
We've heard her use a voice changer. Maybe that was her real voice.
That's true. She's hiding under a veil. We don't know what is going on there.
What happens to the polytheists at the end of this 4 months, even if they don't attack within that first 4 months?
Okay, so the 4 month period is designated for the individuals in Surah At-Tawbah. At the end of the 4 months, then you are capable of fighting them. If they retaliate against you before the 4 month period, you are also capable of retaliating against them.
So why have a 4 month period?
Wait, hold on one moment. However, the 4 month period begins after a transgression against the Muslims, which means it's
Why are you screaming?
I'm not screaming. I'm getting closer to my mic.
So upon the end of the 4 months during which we prohibited you from fighting the idolaters, and which is the grace period we gave them, then fight and kill the idolaters wherever you may find them. Do you agree with that statement?
Yeah, and do you want to read 9:13?
Hold on.
And the verses
do you agree with that
before?
statement?
So the 4 months is in place after they have already supposedly attacked the Muslims. If during these 4 months they attack the Muslims, you may fight them and subjugate them. But after the 4 months, you may also attack and subjugate them.
Powerful. Quran's
and also, by the way, this ruling applies to any disbeliever out there, no matter if they have a past with you or not. However, all of this, remember, is self-defense. Beautiful.
That thinks they can get away with insulting.
Yeah, but there's wait, hold on. Yeah, I was answering the question.
Insulting the wife is going to get you places in here. It's not.
That's how Muslims act.
Immediately.
That's how Muslims act. They insult women. Okay, so
keep going for that.
So do you agree, right? So when the sacred months have passed, that it says upon the end of the 4 months during which we prohibited you from fighting the idolaters, of course, unless it's in self-defense, I agree with that. But during those 4 months, you're prohibited from fighting, which the grace period we gave them, as in the idolaters, then fight and kill them wherever you may find them. It doesn't say then fight and kill them if they attack you. It says after the 4 months, then fight and kill the idolaters wherever you may find them. That's the end of the sentence. I'm not cutting anything off. Do you agree with that?
I understand, yes. Now, the point that's being made here is 9:5 is a continuation of the verses prior, which says that it's about the individuals that broke the treaty. So what did they do to warrant the 4 month period?
You said, one second, you said 9:5 is following.
Wow, so when you're on someone's live, you just have to listen to them rage on if you refuse to allow them to talk over you. This was embarrassing for him. This is a terribly written comment. But I can just say one thing, which is if you're a Muslim and you go on somebody's live stream, you tell that person to just do this and do that and answer this and answer that, you should expect to be muted and to be kicked. I think he was even too gracious. Nick Matar was way too patient and way too gracious with Korra the man. Don't behave like you're kings. Don't behave like you're sultans. We are not your dhimmis. The world is not your dhimmi universe. You don't tell people how to behave. You don't tell people what to do. If you want to tell people how to behave, go and do that in your underdeveloped Muslim countries. You don't tell people, you don't go around telling people what to do. You are not in charge. You Muslims are not in charge. I know that's very insulting to hear, but you're not in charge.
So you're saying...
Yeah, it's following the verses prior. It's verse 5. There's 4 verses prior.
Right. And you're saying that it's only at the end of the 4 months, and 1 through 4, it's going to say at the end of the 4 months.
No, I didn't say only at the end of the 4 months. No, I said that the
reason
is
You did actually say,
why
1 second. You did say that, actually. You said...
No, I said at the end of the 4 months, you can fight them.
I'd be more than glad to make a video. Right. I can be more than glad to make a video and tell you, but you said before that and also after that only if they attack you first. You 1000% did say that. Maybe you didn't mean to...
I said that. Wait, no.
Stop.
Wait, you're misquoting.
Maybe you didn't mean to say that, but anyone is more than happy to go into the the YouTube and rewind and hear her say it was even after that period. You did say that.
No, what I said is after, then you attack. If they attack prior, then you attack them in self-defense if they do so first.
So if it's after, hold on, stop.
I'm not
so
done
even
talking.
after 4 months, you're allowed to attack them regardless if they attack you or not.
Okay. Now, can I speak to you without interrupting?
No.
Wait, is this true? I see some people say that Nick Matau is a Noahide. Is that true? It's pretty gay. No, I saw it before somewhere. Interesting. Somebody tell me if that's true or not. I'm curious. What is this, man? Ash says no. Catherine says yes.
Whoa! Fight!
Ash says not that I know of.
Fight!
Even if I hear 5,000 yeses, I believe Ash.
Chat fight.
Oh, he is? Oh, wait a minute. Ash himself is. He's a Noahide. Yes. He explains it to Lipiano later. Interesting. I'd like to hear more about that. I generally thought that the idea of being a Noahide is kind of a stupid thing. That's just what I think right now. So I would like to hear about it sometime. I don't think I will think later on that it's not a stupid thing. I think it's generally a stupid thing. But I would like to hear more reasoning about it. But it might not be as stupid. I don't know. Ash says I abrogated my revelation. Nice. Nick is indeed a Noahide. Interesting. He says he's a Noahide like every stream. He does? Interesting.
And Ash still got it wrong.
And almost always. Or the duck clips don't work on him. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I looked into the whole. This was actually when I was before I became a Christian. When I was officially still an atheist and was in my agnosticism phase. At first I wanted to convert to Judaism. And then I did encounter this whole idea of Noahide and stuff, but I found that it's a generally, I must say, stupid thing. But that's just my position. I don't mean to be rude. I just personally find it stupid. That was my conclusion at the time. So I moved on from it. And then I became a Christian and started following the truth. So
yeah, AP was he was an agnostic, and then he was like, where can I get paid the most to convert? Oh, wait a minute. The Jews control everything. So I will have everything if I just become a Jew.
And then I found out that becoming a Jew is actually a very difficult thing.
Like, no, I didn't want to do anything hard.
Yeah. They expect you to go through all this hardship and to follow all kinds of rules. I just wanted to control the world, man, and get paid. I can't do that. Sorry. Too much work.
Oh,
wait, can I speak without interrupting? Can I speak without interruption though?
Are you allowed to attack them?
Can I speak without interruption?
Are you allowed to attack them?
Why are you nervous laughing?
After 4 months?
Yes, after 4 months. And if they try to attack you prior, you are allowed to attack in self-defense.
What if they don't attack you?
After 4 months, you're allowed to attack them in self-defense. So before, if they attack, what's the 4 months? Before the 4 months, if they attack you, you're allowed to defend yourself. But after 4 months, then you're allowed to attack them in self-defense. Okay, so before and after, you're only attacking them in self-defense.
Wait, so before the 4 months, you're not allowed to attack them in self-defense?
No, you're allowed to attack them in self-defense before the 4 months are up.
And after the 4 months?
Then you can also attack them in self-defense.
Why can't you attack them? But you can also attack them during the 4 months.
In other words, nothing changes with the 4 months, according to Korra.
Korra, are you stupid? Do you hear yourself, Korra? Are you stupid? Korra, do you hear what you just said? Why are you stupid? Korra,
Why are you stupid?
Why are you stupid? Korra, you don't have to do this to yourself. Islam is making you stupid. Islam is treating you like a half-brain. It's making you stupid. Korra, you don't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. You're trying to defend stupidity, which makes you stupid. It makes you half-brain. Korra, why?
What if they don't attack you?
And even prior, even if they don't attack you within the 4 month period, you can still attack them because it's initially in self-defense because they broke a treaty.
I got you. So if they
according
don't
to the
attack
verses
you,
prior and 913.
Right.
Let's rehear what you just said. Prior to the 4 months, if they attack you, you can attack them in self-defense. During the 4 months, if they attack you, you can also attack them in self-defense. After the 4 months, you can also attack them if they attack you in self-defense. So the 4 months have absolutely no function at all here, no relevance. Great. It was a very intelligent piece of information. Thank you. We're all smarter now.
Right. So if they don't attack you, then what?
Wait, are you going to engage with what I just said?
If
this
they
is what happens when you don't engage with substance.
If they don't attack you, what do you get to do?
Wait, do you not hear what I just said?
Goodness.
This is what happens when you don't engage with substance.
What happens if you don't? Gotcha. Great. What do you do if they don't attack you?
If they don't attack you at the end of the 4 month period? Whoa, why am I being muted while I'm answering questions?
I didn't even mute you. I think that was you. But anyways,
no, what do you do?
Okay. What do you do at the end of 4 months?
I'm in the middle of answering a question now, but don't panic while I'm talking. And
nobody's
don't
panicking.
Yeah, well, when you mute someone and interrupt them, that kind
of. I literally didn't mute you, and that's ironic because you were interrupting the entire time before I finally got you to relax.
Yeah, while I was in the middle of talking, you would.
Can you just stop talking about the way you're answering the question and just answer the freaking question? This is so annoying.
The entire approach seems to be just be as annoying as possible until no one wants to talk to you anymore, and then you can claim victory and claim everyone's running from you.